Joining us for this week's Chalk Talk, sponsored by the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, is Josh Tropea, the head boys basketball coach at Chelsea High School. The Bulldogs are 5-2 overall this season, 1-0 in conference play as they prepare to take on fellow Southeastern Conference White Division opponent Jackson at home on Friday night. He's also a regional director for BCAM. Coach Tropea, thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor.
All right, great. Well, Coach, back in 2014, you won a state championship as the head guy at Milan. So I wanted to start off by asking you about your coaching journey that you've taken in your life. What motivated you? Who influenced you? What brought you to coaching? And describe your passion for doing it.
I think, early on, what motivated me was my parents. They always were supportive and pushed me in athletics when I was a kid. And then what motivated me to get into coaching was the incredible relationship and experiences I shared with Rex Stanczak as a high school player at South Lyon. Rex was a young coach, really connected with us as players, inspired us to be our best, and it made me want to be a coach when my playing days were over. And I joined his staff early on in the late 1990s at Walled Lake Western, and then just things kind of developed from there. And it allowed me to stay close to players, the sport. As a competitor, at someday it's going to end for all of us. And the next best thing is coaching, and the relationships you build, and the memories and the friendships, all those things. Now I got so many guys, former players, having kids. I'm attending weddings. Guys on my staff are all former players. So it's great for so many other reasons. I mean, selfishly, I get so much out of it. Hopefully I continue to give as much as I get.
Well, Dan Young mentioned to us that you helped arrange a recent shot clock experiment game that took place at Spring Arbor. There's a lot of interest in instituting the shot clock here in Michigan. How did it go? And talk about your reasons. Maybe you'd like to see it happen.
I was lucky enough to another great mentor of mine, Ryan Cottingham at Spring Arbor, hired me to be an assistant for 2 years, just a few years ago. And I got a real taste for the shot clock and how it changed the game in a positive way. So I'm a huge advocate for the shot clock coming to high school basketball. I think it will improve the game of basketball, to speed the game up, prepare players for the next level, give us a more entertaining model in the high school level as well. And what we learned, I really thought over the holidays and all these different events, including the one we did at Spring Arbor, is that throughout the course of the game, it doesn't change the flow of the game much. The game's played fast as it is in high school, and seldom does the shot clock come into play. But at the end of game is where it really changes it. If we're in a 5-point game with 2 minutes left, a lot of teams will pull the ball out and go layup only, and it kills the flow of the game, the natural progression in the game that we see on TV and we've come to love both in college and the NBA. And it takes the stall out of it. So it's a better product. It continues to make you play the game. We saw that in these events where a close game with 5 minutes, the flow continued. And it was great for both the coaches and the players, and not only us, but the fans.
Right on. TJ.
I think that what you just said there about the preparation that the shot clock brings along, you as a former assistant coach at Spring Arbor, obviously you get to see freshmen come in and they've never dealt with a shot clock before. Sometimes you see panic mode that's going on when everybody else is keeping their heads, and it's one of those things where I know that adjustment right there is a hurdle for a lot of college coaches. I would also like to see the shot clock for all games in the coming years, and hopefully that does wind up happening. One thing I wanted to mention, you talk about your former players, your staff right now is chock full of your former players. I'm a friend of Rex Stanczak. I think that he's got one of the best recordings for his voicemail of all time. It's just music, and you know who you're calling when. But yes, Rex. I'm a big fan of Rex, and he's having a lot of success at Ann Arbor. Gabriel Richard. We also brought up your championship in 2014, and then the runner-up in 2015. You have a guy, Latin Davis, who I see on the bench now, I believe for Roseville. And I see that, that he's doing well. What are you looking for, as your coaching tree expands?
I want to see these guys. Not only do I want to see them win, and they are winning as the guys that have come off, I guess, the coaching tree. But not only are they winning, but I know they're going to be great mentors, and they're going to make a difference in these kids' lives because they were great competitors, they were great players. But not only that, they were great students of the game, and they were coachable. All these guys that go on to be coaches, they were coachable themselves, and they're able to take criticism. They were able to accept praise without it going to their head, and I think that they'll be great players. I think the biggest hurdle, they'll be great coaches. The biggest hurdle that they'll come across is because so many of them were great players. At times they'll struggle to relate to the role guy or the bench player. Even though as players they knew how important those guys were, they were never those role players themselves. One of my best assistant coaches right now is Austin Elam, and I think he's so good at that because he was a 6th, 7th man until he was a senior, so he can appreciate both sides of it.
I think that players who can sit down and watch, and I'm saying the guys that, don't get all the playing time, or, unfortunately sometimes, a kid will go down with an injury and they'll have to sit and watch the game for a month, 2 months. They're just able to pick up so many of the nuances that go into games as far as whether it be a baseline out of bounds play or sideline out of bounds play, for an easy score and stuff like that, where, as a player, you're just saying, all right, well, this is what I'm supposed to do, rather than knowing all 5 positions. And I think that, that's one of the things where you can pick up a lot by watching.
I think that's why you see so many point guards excel as coaches, because as a point guard, it's your job to know all 5 positions. And I think that's why you see so many of those guys go into coaching.
Absolutely. Talk a little bit about your Bulldog team, this team that you have this season, and, expectations.
Yeah. Like we talk about pressures of privilege. We talk about that a lot. And there are some high expectations. We do have 2 losses. We lost to the defending state champs from Indiana, Blackhawk Christian, and they are sitting at like 11-1, with their only loss being in double overtime to Fletcher Lawyer's Homestead team. And that's a name a lot of Michigan people will know.
Yes.
And then our other loss was to a Northview team out of Ohio, which is 12-1. And one of the best teams in the state of Ohio right now. So we've played some really tough teams. We'd like to win those tough games, which we get another opportunity coming up against Benton Harbor here in a little more than a week. They come to our place. That'll be a great opportunity for us. And then our other 5 games, we've really rolled. We played really well against competition here in the state of Michigan. And I think we're a high-scoring team. We play very fast. We share the ball. And I have 4 college guards that I throw out there. And, I've had Division I players in the past. I don't know if I have one of those right now or not, possibly in Joey Cabana, but I've never had 4 college players on the floor before, and I've had some good teams.
Fantastic. We're talking with Josh Tropea, head coach at Chelsea High School. Coach, BCAM's officially launched the One Team campaign. That's an effort to promote unity among teams, schools, communities. We're actually filming a unity game that Plymouth Christian and Oakland Christian are doing on Friday. What are some of the things maybe that you've thought about, maybe you've done already, will do, whether it's a game, an activity? How do you plan on maybe trying to promote unity in the One Team program? What are your thoughts on this endeavor?
Well, the endeavor is something we absolutely need, and these last almost 2 years now through the pandemic and all the issues we've struggled with it and continue to struggle with as a country through race and getting along and respecting one another and loving each other. I've found that the best place to do that is the locker room. It is the great equalizer. People care about each other. They respect one another. You talk about loving your teammates, and that's general. We can learn so much for those that learn to share a locker room with each other. And I think as we move forward, one of the things we've talked about doing as a program is this summer is really trying to make a difference and bring different groups and into our we have an unbelievable facility with 5 courts where we want to kind of run a summer league back, kind of like what Nate Oates used to do in Romulus, and bring different teams from different communities in and break bread and spend time together and get to know one another and respect one another. It's really hard to do right now. I mean, there's some good things that BCAM has in place with, standing for the national anthem together. They suggested eating together and things like that, but we can't even sell concession at games, let alone eat with the other team due to COVID. But we look forward to, hopefully having some, I guess, call them normal times in the summer where we can do some more of those things because it is certainly something that is needed. And it's certainly something needed in our community. It's needed in most communities. I mean, where there's a lack of diversity and understanding of one another. So it's something I look forward to being a part of.
Well, Coach Tropea, thanks again for all you do for basketball. Good luck this season, and thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thanks again for having me, guys. Great show.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.